Kapil Gupta is a personal advisor to some of the world's most successful CEOs, professional athletes, and entertainers. And as you're about to find out, his advice is not conventional, to say the least. So, Kapil, great to be with you.
Thank you, Mo. Pleasure to be here.
You are certainly one who is as ironclad about his view of the world and life in general as anyone that I have met. So for those hearing us have this conversation for the first time, what is the most important thing that people need to know about you?
The most direct answer I can give is that my God is the truth.
Elaborate on that for me.
In every problem, in every situation, in every circumstance, in every deep life issue, there is always a truth. There are ways that you can go left or right. There are things that you can advise for and advise against. There are advantages and disadvantages, but there's always a truth. And the truth is never logistic, and the truth is never mechanical. And it isn't one decision that's more right than another decision. It is about where that decision comes from. It is the source of the decision which categorizes it as truth or not. So that is my holy grail. That is my mode of attack in all things.
So when you're sitting down and talking with someone and obviously the people you work with have had great achievements in life, what you've just said sounds so logical, yet seems so elusive to most of us. None of us want to think that we're not living our truth. But the truth of the matter, no pun intended, is that we're not. What are we missing?
The desire to know the truth. It isn't about a methodology. It isn't about a way. It is just that human beings generally are not interested in the truth. It doesn't motivate them. It doesn't inspire them. There is a small subset who insist upon it. And those are the ones who find it. And those are the ones who resonate with it. The rest of them simply ask for prescriptions, which I am profoundly and categorically against.
So for the majority then, what are we running away from? What are we afraid of?
I think avoidance is a very comfortable way to live. I think asking someone for the answer is a very safe way to live, which ends up being very dangerous in the end. I don't think that it really is about being afraid. I think it just comes down to DNA. And I don't mean biological DNA. I mean sensibility DNA, one's natural bent towards things. There are just those people who, for whatever inexplicable reason, are just gravitate towards wanting to know. They love to learn. They crave the knowing of the central nucleus of the matter. And I don't think that really I don't think that any conversation that stems around the masses and trying to get the masses to move is a fruitful conversation. I think it is much more about lateral moves and not vertical ones. It is difficult and almost futile to take someone or attempt to take someone who has virtually no interest in the truth at all, or only a curious sort of a passing curiosity in the truth, and try to get that person to look for the truth. that would be a vertical attempt. A lateral attempt is someone who is already world-class in what they do. And by virtue of them being world-class, they already, almost by definition, have to be outside-the-box thinkers. They tend to buck the norm. They tend to move against society. They do things their own way. And that's exactly the DNA of the person who seeks the truth. It is just that now they would be doing it in a different arena, but bringing all those resources with them. So I'm much more interested in lateral moves than I am vertical ones. So when you ask a question which says, what is everyone afraid of? The implication, the source of your question centers around the idea that we should say something in order to help the masses find what they are, what it is they're running away from. And if they discover that, then we can help them on the way to the truth. I have no interest in that. Life is very short. I am only interested in the people who are serious enough to begin with and therefore need a small catalyst to make a lateral move as opposed to a massive earthquake to make a vertical one.
So let's talk to the latter. Let's assume for a moment we're only talking to the latter. And you said something to me last week that I want to dig a little bit deeper in. You said something to the effect that if I tell somebody the how to get wherever they want to go, they'll be stuck forever. What do you mean by that?
Yes. All of society, whether it is in the whether it's in technical instruction or spiritual matters or coaching or teaching or in business or in sports, whatever it may be, everyone functions off of an unstated premise. And the reason it's unstated is that it's so accepted, it's such a given that it doesn't even need to be stated. And that is that in order for you to do X, I will teach you how to do X. Now, for some very, very basic technical things, yes, you can get away with that. But those things don't have really much artistic significance. But there's a massive problem with that. The problem is that if you teach someone how to do something, they will forever be asking you if the how that they employed is the correct how. They will always come back and ask you, was that right? Was this correct? And I didn't get it. That my how was wrong? And then you will say, well, yeah, you didn't do it quite this way. No, you were a little bit off here. As a result, it's like leading a blind man towards a tree. And he's forever dependent upon you to tell him to walk to the left or the right, and it's getting colder or warmer until he gets there. That is treating a human being like an invalid. That is so disrespectful to the artistry and the ingenuity that a human being is born with, that it basically sabotages all of his efforts, because teaching someone the how does not create art. It creates dependency.
When your best relationships come to you, your best clients, I know they're more than clients to you, but when your best relationships comes to you, what type of questions are they asking you? If they're not asking you how, what type of questions are they asking you?
They do ask how, but they very quickly learn not to.
As I did, right? I learned really quickly.
Yes, because the paradigm is so completely contrary. It is so antithetical to society that it's literally a part of the water. So, why do you ask me what kind of questions do they ask me? Why are you asking that?